Thanks again, Roy Otis, back at Air Canada Centre, Toronto. It's time for another edition of Kaiton's Corner, where in the second intermission, you are the star of the show. Just give me a good question about hockey, whether you're a new fan or a veteran fan of the NHL and the Hurricanes. Send your question to Chuck K at CarolinaHurricanes.com. Chuck and the letter K at CarolinaHurricanes.com. Provide us always with your name and where you're emailing from, and we'll give you an opportunity to ask any question, and we'll try to answer it for you as succinctly and as clearly as possible here in Kaiton's Corner, just as we will for Sergio Calvo. Now, I don't know. I'm a little confused. Sergio didn't give me his place of residence. I'm assuming that he is still up in North Carolina, or I should say in Connecticut. He says that, as far as I'm concerned, you're the voice of hockey for me. I grew up in Connecticut, and the Hartford Whalers were my first hockey passion, and in large part thanks to you. Well, Sergio, I appreciate that very, very, very much, and I do wish the Hurricanes a congratulatory salute for 10 years in North Carolina. Stability is important for the future of hockey, especially in the Southeast, and now Sergio says he's an Atlanta Thrasher fan, so he cares about the Southeast Division, and he wonders why it still gets such a bad rap. The Southeast has won 2 of the last 3 Stanley Cups. Actually, now it's 2 of the last, actually it is 2 of the last 3, including Anaheim, 2 in a row. Up until last year, and while there's no power team in the division, says Sergio, there are 5 teams that are tough to play against and full of great young talent. You make some excellent points, Sergio. I don't think anybody that wanted to debate you on that would win any of those cases. When you stop and think about the improvements made by the Florida Panthers and the Washington Capitals in the offseason, specifically in goal, where Roberto Luongo was a kingpin for the Panthers but just got worn out and they felt they had to trade him to upgrade, but they acquired Tomas Vokoun from the Nashville Predators. So the Florida Panthers have good goaltending in their stead. And also with Jacques Martin, who built the Ottawa Senators for a number of years as their coach. He's a guy that I think is now, as general manager, is going to amplify on the Panthers and build a winning tradition there. It takes a long time. It's his drafts. He now has full control after Mike Keenan left for the Calgary Flames after being out of hockey for a while. So it's Jacques' team. So respect the Florida Panthers. I think that's the first thing I would have to say. They're going to look for big things from Stephen Weiss and Nathan Horton for their team. So you're right. They've got a couple of good, and they've got a kingpin defenseman in the making in Jay Bouwmeester. So Florida has to be taken seriously this year, even though the Hurricanes have kind of slapped them around and manhandled them over the last several seasons. They have been close games, and the frustrations for the Panthers have been every time that game's gone into overtime, you can almost, like clockwork, chalk it up in the Hurricane corner with a win, because they just have had their number. But the Washington Capitals, Semin, Ovechkin, young Mike Green on the defense. They've got a good mixture of players, and when you've got an Ole Kolzig, you have to be respected. As far as your Atlanta Thrashers are concerned, Marian Hossa, there's going to be some questions as to whether or not he's going to re-sign. He'll be an unrestricted free agent at the end of this contract, but he is a star. Bobby Holik, a consummate leader. Kari Lehtinen, staying healthy, is a solid goaltender. So the Thrashers have a very, very solid hockey club leadership of Slava Kozlov. Ilya Kovalchuk, I think, is maturing year after year. It's a slow process for him, but he is maturing as a player and has wonderful talent. So the Thrashers, again, I think will be battling the Hurricanes for first place myself in the division. And then there's always the Tampa Bay Lightning. How can you hate a team with Richards, LeCavalier, and St. Louis? Goaltending is going to be their Achilles heel there, I think, and so maybe defensive play. But their power play has always been good, and they're kind of an erratic team. They go hot and cold, but Tampa Bay, as you pointed out, has won the Stanley Cup 3 years ago now, and has to be respected. So why does it get a bad rap? I'm not sure the Southeast Division does get a bad rap. I think it's been respected a lot more. If there's any division that should get a bad rap, it's the Central Division. You look at teams like St. Louis, which has improved, but the Chicago Blackhawks have been a doormat. Columbus Blue Jackets couldn't get out of their own way for the first 7 seasons of their existence, have not made the playoffs. And the Nashville Predators, who until a couple of years ago, as an expansion team, were a team being built by David Poyle, and they were all right. They could be scary, but now they're a very good team, but you've got the Detroit Red Wings basically running roughshod in that division. So I think most people should say the Central Division right now is the weakest division in the NHL, and the Southeast should have the respect. But in the past, they always called, it was easy to say it was a South-least division. Everybody with that cutesy little phrase, but it doesn't happen anymore. I don't think any sane hockey fan, Sergio, would ever think that the Southeast Division is not getting its due, especially now with the credibility of all those factors that we just discussed. So, Sergio Calvo, thanks very much for your question tonight in Kaiton's Corner. We'll do it again Thursday when the Hurricanes head to Ottawa. Just send us your question to Chuck K at CarolinaHurricanes.com. That's Chuck and the letter K at CarolinaHurricanes.com. Provide us with your full name, where you're emailing from, and a good question about hockey, and we'll answer it for you on a future second intermission on this segment of the program. I'm Chuck Kaiton.